You may not know this, but throughout the entire Transformers film series, Optimus Prime, noble leader of the Autobots, has always stood by an unshakable code. Never harm a human being, no matter what. Even when betrayed, hunted, and nearly destroyed by the very people he fought to protect, Optimus never lashed out. In Transformers: Age of Extinction, despite being relentlessly attacked by human forces, he chose restraint. When a corporate CEO coldly declared that the world no longer needed the Autobots, Optimus didn't retaliate, he simply left in anger. So how is it that, with just a single slap from Quintessa, this principled warrior transformed into Nemesis Prime, a dark, ruthless version of himself? The answer lies not in that one moment, but in a long and painful history of betrayal, loss, and disillusionment. Optimus Prime's fall didn't happen overnight. It was a slow collapse, one blow at a time, ever since he first arrived on Earth. Back then, he upheld a sacred leadership principle: never interfere with or endanger life on any other planet. Even when Bumblebee was captured, Optimus didn't storm in guns blazing. He patiently followed leads, like the glasses Sam Witwicky dropped, to locate his team and resolve things without violence. But behind that calm exterior was the weight of impossible choices. Sometimes, being a leader means watching your comrades die for the mission. One of the first and most painful losses came when Jazz was ripped apart by Megatron. Optimus was devastated, but he accepted it as the necessary price to protect Earth. Still, he didn't give up. He called in more Autobots, convinced that the greater good made the sacrifices worth it. He tried to convince himself that the ideals he believed in were enough to keep going. But the real heartbreak came not from the Decepticons but from humanity itself. Over time, Optimus witnessed the darker side of human nature. He watched as power-hungry politicians, corporate elites, and government agents turned against their protectors. Instead of offering gratitude, they responded with suspicion, greed, and betrayal. A government aide once used cruel threats to manipulate an Autobot, exposing just how little loyalty or respect humanity truly had. And in times of crisis, humans didn't hesitate to turn their weapons on the Autobots, the very ones who had saved them. For the first time, Optimus Prime felt the sting of betrayal. It wasn't until the arrival of the Fallen's fleet and the destruction of a U.S. aircraft carrier that humans realized how much they needed the Autobots. But the damage had been done. Then came the ultimate betrayal: Sentinel Prime. A mentor, a brother, a hero in the eyes of Optimus. When Sentinel publicly declared allegiance to the Decepticons and killed Ironhide as a show of loyalty, it crushed Optimus's spirit. Sentinel laid waste to Nest's base, seized control of the space bridges, and left devastation behind. When Optimus arrived to see the wreckage, all he felt was sorrow and bitter regret. But instead of support, humanity blamed him for the destruction. They turned their backs once again, forcing the Autobots to leave Earth. Out of options, Optimus faked their departure and used a clever strategy to expose the Decepticons' real plan, still choosing to protect the very people who had cast him out. When humanity faced its darkest hour, Optimus returned, leading the Autobots into battle once again. They won, but the cost was immense. And even then, the final blow had yet to come. That blow came in the form of Cemetery Wind, a Black Ops group tasked with hunting down Autobots. But these weren't Decepticons they were killing, they were their own allies. Leadfoot was torn apart like scrap metal. Ratchet, wounded and still pleading for mercy, had his spark, his very soul, ripped from his chest. These weren't enemies. These were family. And their killers weren't invaders, they were humans. And then, at KSI, a corporation working with the military, Optimus was told flat out, "Humanity doesn't need you anymore." That was it. That was the breaking point. All his sacrifices, all the lives lost, all the loyalty, tossed aside without hesitation. Then came lockdown, a bounty hunter sent to capture Optimus. His words sliced deep. Loyalty is a chain for the weak. It was more than just a taunt. It was a revelation. Everything Optimus had believed in, fought for, suffered through, it had been used against him. The allies he had fought to protect had turned into butchers chasing profit. And when Optimus finally returned to Cybertron, he found it in ruins. There, Quintessa, a mysterious being claiming to be Cybertron's creator, delivered one final truth. Earth is Unicron, the ancient force that destroyed Cybertron. In that moment, everything fell apart. The planet he had given everything to defend was the very entity that had devoured his home. His beliefs, his purpose, his very identity shattered. The bones of his fallen comrades, the betrayal of humanity, and the loss of his homeworld. These three wounds cut deeper than any blade. They revealed a hard truth. Blind compassion does not bring peace. Optimus Prime, once the idealistic warrior who declared that freedom is the right of all sentient beings, was gone. In his place stood something new. A god of war, forged in pain, awakened by truth, and no longer bound by mercy. He had learned the hard way that peace sometimes requires fire and fury. And that's when Nemesis Prime was born. Not because of Quintessa's slap, but because of everything that came before it.